Have you ever sat there and thought to yourself, what is the internet? Or maybe you're in school and you need to get an understanding of this concept in order to pass one of your classes. Now, when I was in school, I used to do a lot of what you're doing now, and that is going on YouTube, going on the internet, and I'd go research topics that I need to know. So, like if I was learning what is the internet or what is subnetting, I'd go on YouTube and I'd search that, and I'd listen to somebody explain it in a way where it was a little bit more understandable than looking at some words on a piece of paper. Now, I'm sure you feel the same way. That's why you're here. So, in turn, that's why I'm here. So, what I'm going to be explaining today, I'm going to be explaining what is the internet. Now, I've heard it explained in a couple different ways. I've heard some say it's a wire. I've heard some say it's a network of networks. And to be honest, both are true. They can be explained as either, but they mean the same thing. Now, let me explain. So, what is the internet? The internet is a network of networks. That's how we're going to explain it here because that's a little bit more easier to understand, in my opinion, even though they're the same thing. So, let's say, for example, there's a couple houses. That's not even the start of a house. So, there's a couple houses. Not too good at this app. Okay, let me just do the houses and I'll be back. Okay, the houses are done. Took a little bit, but the houses are done. So, now let's say we're going to give these houses numbers. There's going to be 1. This is going to be 2. This is going to be 3. Ooh, that's not a 3. Yeah, I'm terrible at this. This is going to be 3. And this is going to be 4. Now, we're going to exclude 4 for a second. We'll save that one for last. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle. And that's going to represent the house's internet, the house's network, which is what you're using now to watch this video more than likely. So let's say, for example, we all have a router. All networks need a router. The router is essentially the network. Let me see where I'm going here. So we've got all these 3 circles. We have a router in each of them. Now let's give these guys hosts. Now let's say this one has a PC. That works. Let's say house 2 has a PC as well. That also works. Now let's say house 3 has a toaster. Okay. Just to spice things up a little bit. Now let's say house 1 wants to send an email to house 2. Now what house 1 will do is house 1 will send that message to house 2 via what? The router. So the router will send the message all the way to house 2's router. Now house 2 wants to send a message to house 3. Now how will that work? You got it. House 2 will send the message all the way to house 3's router. Now I say houses, but it's not really the houses sending the messages, the routers sending the messages. The routers do all the communication because the routers are, correct, the network. So now we're going to talk about house 4. Now these are all on your block. Now we're going to say house 4 is all the way in Alaska. And your block is Georgia. So house 4 has also a network. And has a router, of course, because you can't have a network without a router. And let's say house 4 has a PC. Now house 4 is all the way in Alaska. Now say house 3 wants to send a message to house 4. How will that work? I'm going to explain. It's the same way. House 3, our house 3's router, is going to send a message all the way to where? House 4's router. Now you see that? Georgia to Alaska? That's a big distance. But now you can get a little bit of an understanding of what a network is. It's a network of networks. So it's a network of routers, you could say. It's just basically interconnecting everything. Every network is interconnected somehow. That's why it's called the internet. So yeah, that's the internet. Simple, huh? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, it does get a little bit more complicated, okay? But don't let that discourage you. It is something you can learn. It's something anybody can learn. You just gotta learn it. Now, don't worry, I will be posting videos more on the internet. Say subnetting, because subnetting is fairly complicated, but it's fairly simple as well. You just gotta learn it. So there will be more videos like that on my page, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But now you know what an internet is. It's a network of networks. Now, once you really grasp that concept, you've got it. That's the basics to it before you can do anything like subnetting. So I want you to really grasp that And one way that I help you, which I used to do a lot in school, is I would go and I'd write it down somewhere on a paper, on my iPad, on my phone, anywhere. Anywhere where I could just keep it in, I know I wouldn't lose it. So that way, if I ever forgot it, guess what? I can go learn it again. Now, another method I used to really get me to retain this info was I'd go teach it to someone. Say, go to your wife, go to a family member, go to a stranger if not, go to your friends, or even talk to yourself in the mirror. Whatever you need to do. And just explain it, teach it. Now, when you teach it, there's always going to be questions that come up. And those questions are going to make you dig deeper. And that's where you really start to get into the rabbit hole of IT. Now it's big, there's a lot to learn, but you can do it. I know you can. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go and I want you to teach to someone. And from there, it'll just sail right through. You'll get everything, trust me. So yeah, now you know what a network is.